Hi, I'm Avi Crane. As a business owner, I know you're not just running a company, you're building a legacy. But what if the person building that legacy, what if you, were suddenly not in the picture anymore? Today, we're going to talk about how to secure that future, to make sure everything you've built not only survives, but thrives, no matter what happens.
You've poured your heart, your soul, probably every penny you have into this thing. For so many of us, it's our life's work. So let me just ask you, owner to owner, if you weren't here tomorrow, what would happen? Is that future you've imagined for your team and your family built on a solid foundation? Or is it really a house of cards resting on just you?
And that leads us right into what I call the owner's dilemma. It's that nagging feeling in the back of your mind, a series of really critical what-ifs that every single one of us faces, whether we like to think about it or not. These are the exact questions that can keep you up at night. What happens if you're gone just unexpectedly? What if an accident or an illness takes you out of the game for months or even for good? And, of course, the big one, retirement. Is your business your ticket to that future? And if so, how do you actually turn this thing you've built into the retirement income you need? Look, these aren't just hypotheticals, right? These are real-world challenges that need a real plan. Trying to figure all this out on your own? Well, it's a huge weight to carry. And that's why who you choose to partner with is honestly probably the single most important decision you'll make in this process. And that brings us to something that, in my book, is completely non-negotiable: the fiduciary standard.
So here it is, the one critical question you have to ask anyone giving you financial advice. Are you legally bound to put my interests first? And you might be shocked to hear this, but some studies show that as few as 10% of financial professionals are actual fiduciaries. That means a staggering 90% are not legally required to put your interests ahead of their own. This is not a small detail, folks. This is everything when it comes to protecting what you've built.
See, a financial fiduciary, we have a legal and ethical duty to put your interest first. It's not a suggestion, it's the law. That means no hidden agendas, no pushing products because of a commission. It means the advice you're getting is based on one thing and one thing only: what is best for you. It is, bar none, the highest standard of care in the entire financial services industry.
And I really like this image because it sums it all up. This isn't just about a handshake and a promise. It's a handshake that's backed by a legal requirement. As a fiduciary, my success is legally tied to your success. We only succeed when you do. It's a true partnership, one that's built on a foundation of trust that isn't just a nice idea. It's actually required by law. Okay. So how do we actually do this? How do we take that commitment and turn it into a real concrete plan for your business? Well, for us, it all starts with what we call our fact-finding process. Cookie-cutter plans just don't work. Why? Because your business isn't cookie-cutter. Your goals are yours alone. And that's why our very first step is just to listen. Yeah, we need to get into the nuts and bolts of your company for sure, but what's even more important is understanding your vision, for the business, for yourself, and for your family. So our Fact Finder, it's designed to explore 4 key areas that are all connected. We'll dig into your personal priorities, then your succession plan, how that all ties into your retirement, and of course, your strategy for keeping your key people. They all have to work together. So let's start with succession. A lot of owners have something called a buy-sell agreement, which is great. But here's the million-dollar question: is it funded? Because an unfunded agreement is like an empty safe. It's a promise with no money to back it up. And another thing, what is the business actually worth today? A formal valuation is the only real starting point for any serious plan. Okay, next up, your retirement. For most business owners, the business is the retirement plan. But there's often this huge gap between the business as it is today and that secure retirement you're counting on down the road. We help you build the bridge across that gap. And a huge piece of this puzzle is who's going to buy it? A family member, a key employee, an outside company, because each of those scenarios requires a totally different strategy. Think about your business, right? Your key employees are the most important gears in that whole machine. What happens if one of them just walks out the door? The whole thing can grind to a halt. So keeping your best people, that's not just a nice to have for morale. It's absolutely critical for protecting the core value of your company. We need to make sure your key players want to stick around for the long haul. This whole thing really comes down to a pretty simple idea, and Warren Buffett said it best: don't risk what you have and need in order to pursue what you don't have and don't need. It's about protecting what's real, what you've already built, and our entire process is designed to do just that.
So when you finally put a real plan in place for all these what-ifs, you're doing so much more than just managing risk. You're actively, consciously building your legacy.
Think about it. All that hard work, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, all of that deserves way more than just being left to chance. A real, thoughtful plan is what takes all that effort and turns it into a secure future for your business and a lasting legacy for your family.
You know, the first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. But the good news? It's actually pretty simple. All it really takes to start protecting everything you've worked for is just a conversation. No pressure, no obligation.
So I'd like to invite you to take that first step with me. Go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen. It'll let you schedule a complimentary consultation. Let's sit down, just talk, and walk through this fact-finder process together. Let's start building a fortress around that future you've worked so incredibly hard to create. Thanks for your time.